Some women spend a lifetime chasing a phantom. They pursue a half-seen vision of love, a ghost of a man they believe will finally make them whole. They've been taught that their value is a reflection in someone else's eyes, a mirrored image of worth that can only be validated by external affection. This is the feminine wound, an ancient scar passed down through generations, whispering that you are incomplete on your own. It is the deep-seated belief that your own intuitive knowing, your inner compass, is less reliable than the fleeting attention of another. This is the stage where the grand illusion begins, where the voice of fear starts its performance. The voice of fear is a masterful actor, a shadow puppeteer. It doesn't scream, it whispers with the seductive logic of a wounded ego. It tells you to overanalyze, to seek endless reassurance, to cling to what is familiar even if it's corrosive. It presents itself as the voice of caution, of pragmatism, but its true motive is to keep you small and safe in a cage of your own making. This voice thrives on trauma-informed behaviors, the desperate need to be chosen, the compulsion to fix and rescue, the anxiety that a man's momentary absence is a sign of your impending abandonment. It is the echo of past hurts, the memory of a time you were left behind, and it projects this ancient pain onto every new interaction. It convinces you that if you just try harder, give more, and become indispensable, you will finally secure the love you crave. But this is the language of a scarcity mindset, a self-sabotaging script written in the ink of unhealed wounds. The woman under its spell becomes a pleaser and a fixer, a warrior of emotional labor. She's the one who makes herself endlessly available, who texts first, who offers solutions to problems that aren't hers to solve. She does this not out of genuine generosity, but from a place of deep-seated fear. She is unconsciously attempting to earn her place, to prove her worthiness. She believes that her effort is a currency she can use to buy love and security. This is the archetype of the wounded healer, forever tending to others, while her own garden withers. This is the woman who, in the absence of a man's consistent presence, will invent explanations for his distance. She will become a detective of his social media, an analyst of his last-seen timestamp, and a philosopher of his vague texts. She will construct entire narratives to protect her fragile hope, a psychological fortress built not to keep him out, but to keep her own truth from getting in. In this state, her inner compass, her magnificent intuition, is muffled. It sends her subtle signals a knot in her stomach, a fleeting sense of unease, a quiet alarm bell that says, "This isn't right." But the voice of fear, with its loud and insistent clamor, drowns it out. The voice of fear tells her she's being crazy, needy, too much, and that she should ignore these feelings. It encourages her to rationalize away red flags, to excuse his inconsistency, and to believe that if she just had more patience, more faith, or more understanding, he would finally see her. But her intuition knows better. It speaks the language of the soul, a truth that needs no proof, no validation, and no external consensus. It is the silent, unwavering knowing of the individuated self, the part of her that is whole, complete, and needs nothing from the outside to confirm its existence. This battle is the central conflict of modern feminine life. It is the fight between the ego's desire for validation and the soul's call to wholeness. It is the choice between clinging to an illusion or embracing a painful, beautiful truth. This is the work of shadow integration, the courageous act of facing the parts of yourself you have exiled, the neediness, the desperation, the fear of being alone, and bringing them into the light. You cannot hope to attract an emotionally available man if you are not yet emotionally available to yourself. You cannot expect someone to see your true worth if you are still hiding it behind a performance designed to please. The journey begins not with finding the right man, but with becoming the right woman for yourself. It is a journey from the outer world of validation to the inner world of fierce, unapologetic self-love. You are not a half, you are a whole. The voice of fear wants you to forget this. But your intuition, your soul, is patiently waiting for you to remember. It's time to listen. The true turning point, the moment of grace, arrives when the voice of fear reveals its ultimate lie. It promises security, but delivers only anxiety. It promises love, but provides only a desperate neediness that pushes authentic connection away. This is the great paradox of the wounded feminine. The more you chase a man, the more he recedes. The more you try to prove your worth, the less you believe you have it. This pattern, a karmic loop of repetition, is the universe's way of holding up a mirror. It is a forceful, painful, and often necessary push toward the shadow work. Shadow work is not a gentle stroll through your past. It is a descent into the dark, dusty corners of your psyche where your deepest insecurities reside. It is the brave act of confronting your own night ego projections. You are not just seeing a man for who he is, you are seeing him through the lens of your own unhealed trauma. His inattention isn't just his lack of interest, it's a reenactment of the father who was never fully present, the mother who was emotionally distant, or the first boyfriend who abandoned you. You project these ancient narratives onto him, making him a character in your own psychological drama. The voice of fear insists this is all about him, his flaws, his inconsistencies, his inability to commit. But the voice of intuition, once you learn to listen, knows this is all about you. It knows you are seeking to resolve an internal conflict in the external world. You are trying to get him to fix something that only you can heal. This is where the principles of Stoicism become a sacred text. Seneca would tell you to focus on what is within your control, your thoughts, your reactions, your self-respect. You cannot control his feelings, his actions, or his timeline. To try is an act of spiritual futility, a violation of the natural order. Your desperate attempts to manage his behavior are a form of self-abandonment. You are giving away your power to a man who, by his very actions, is demonstrating that he is not a safe container for it. Marcus Aurelius would advise you to view every challenge as an opportunity for internal strength. His inconsistency is not a personal slight, it is a lesson in detachment. It is a chance to practice indifference to things outside your control and to cultivate a fierce loyalty to your own peace. Epictetus would remind you that your value is not a commodity that needs to be earned or validated by another. Your worth is inherent. It is a fundamental truth of your being. The voice of intuition, in contrast to the panicked whispers of fear, is quiet and self-assured. It doesn't demand, it simply states. It doesn't rationalize, it just knows. It is the quiet certainty that a man who doesn't text you back for 3 days is not your future. It is the gut-level feeling that his grand gestures, followed by long periods of emotional distance, are a performance, not a promise. This voice is the divine feminine unconscious, speaking the ancient wisdom of your ancestors, guiding you toward what is truly life-affirming and away from what is spiritually draining. It is the quiet power that understands that a man's pursuit is not a measure of your worth, but a sign of his own emotional health and availability. A man who truly values a woman will not make her wonder. He will not make her question her place. His actions will be consistent, not because she demands it, but because he is an integrated, emotionally mature man. The journey of individuation is the process of integrating these two voices and consciously choosing the one that serves your highest self. It is the work of separating your self-worth from the approval of others. It means learning to sit in the discomfort of uncertainty, to embrace the void of being alone without rushing to fill it with the first available distraction. It is the radical act of choosing yourself every single day over the fleeting and unreliable promise of a man. It is the beginning of a profound spiritual and psychological maturity, a state of being where you no longer need anyone to complete you because you have finally completed yourself. Now, imagine a woman who has finally integrated these truths. She has done the shadow work. She has faced her fear of abandonment, her scarcity mindset, and her desperate need for external validation. This woman operates from a place of sovereignty, a psychological and spiritual state where she is the queen of her own inner kingdom. She is not waiting to be chosen, she is choosing. She is not seeking to be rescued, she is her own rescuer. The energetic shift is palpable. Where there was once a frantic energy of pursuit, there is now a calm, magnetic stillness. This stillness is not passive, it is the powerful result of inner work. It is the quiet confidence of a woman who knows her worth is not negotiable. This is the power of the masculine and feminine unconscious in a state of balance. The wounded feminine, in its desperate state, is all porous receptivity without boundaries, all emotion without structure. She becomes a vessel for a man's projections, a mirror for his unresolved issues, and an emotional dumping ground for his inconsistencies. But the woman who has integrated her shadow and embraced her sovereignty has a healthy masculine principle within her. This internal masculine energy is not aggressive or dominant. It is the force of discernment, boundaries, and protection. It is the part of her that says, "I am worthy of respect," and then backs that statement with action. It is the part that sees a red flag not as a challenge to be overcome, but as a clear signpost pointing her in another direction. This internal protector is what allows her to walk away from what does not serve her without hesitation or a second thought. She is not afraid to say no, to enforce her boundaries, to choose her peace over his presence. When you embody this state, the dynamic of attraction fundamentally changes. You are no longer attracting men who are drawn to your neediness or your willingness to overfunction. You are attracting men who are drawn to your wholeness. A man who is also on his own path of individuation is not looking for a woman to complete him. He is looking for a partner who is a sovereign individual in her own right. He is drawn to the calm, centered energy that you now radiate. The chase is over. The frantic push and pull, the anxious attachment, the games, they all fall away. In their place, a new dynamic emerges, a mutual respect and a genuine desire to connect from two whole people, not two halves trying to make each other whole. This is the alchemy of consciousness in action, where your inner transformation manifests a different external reality. The man who is worthy of you will feel the magnetic pull of your self-possession. He will be drawn to the fact that you are not desperate for him. He will see that your life is full and vibrant on its own, and he will want to be a part of it, not the center of it. His pursuit will not be a game. It will be a deliberate, respectful, and consistent effort to earn a place in your life. He will understand that your time, your energy, and your presence are valuable commodities, and he will act accordingly. This is the ultimate test of his character. Does he rise to meet you in your sovereignty, or does he pull away, intimidated by your strength? The man who pulls away is simply showing you that he is not ready for the woman you have become. And the woman who has done her work will not see this as a rejection, but as a simple alignment of reality with her truth. Your intuition, once a quiet whisper, now becomes your guiding star. It is the voice of your soul, clear and unclouded by fear. It tells you who is a soulmate and who is a soul lesson. It helps you navigate the complexities of human connection with a graceful detachment. This detachment is not coldness, it is the emotional freedom of someone who no longer needs external validation to feel safe. It is the profound inner peace that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you are going to be okay. You are your own home, your own anchor, your own forever. With this newfound sovereignty, you begin to understand the true meaning of emotional freedom. It is not the absence of emotion, but the absence of your emotions being dictated by someone else's behavior. The pain of disappointment still exists, but it no longer has the power to unravel you. The sadness of a parting is a natural part of life, not a catastrophic event that shatters your sense of self. You become the conscious observer of your feelings, rather than a prisoner to them. This is the ultimate gift of the inner work. You become emotionally unflappable, not because you are cold, but because you are emotionally self-sufficient. You have a secure attachment to yourself, and this is the only secure attachment that truly matters. This journey is not without its trials. The old patterns will call to you. The impulse to text him first will feel almost irresistible. The urge to check his social media, to ask a mutual friend about him, to find some external sign of his continued interest, these are the final death throes of the ego. This is where your stoic discipline is most needed. It is a moment-by-moment choice to honor your peace over your anxiety. It is the practice of self-regulation, of sitting with the discomfort and not acting on it. It is the sacred pause that allows the voice of your intuition to finally be heard. In those moments of silence, you remember who you are. You remember that your value is not a prize to be won in the chaotic lottery of online dating. Your value is a divine inheritance, a truth etched into the very core of your being. The woman who has mastered this dance of self-possession no longer views a man's pursuit as a validation of her existence. She sees it as an opportunity for connection, but she holds that opportunity with an open hand, not a clenched fist. She is not afraid to let it go if it proves to be anything less than what she is worthy of. She understands that the right relationship will not be one of frantic chasing and insecure games, but one of mutual recognition and respectful co-creation. The man who is meant for her will find her in her stillness, in her fullness, in her unapologetic selfhood. He will not be drawn to a woman who is performing, but to a woman who is simply being, and in her presence, he too will feel the call to his own authentic self. This is the end of the long-form narration, a culmination of all the previous parts, a final climactic crescendo that leaves the viewer with a sense of emotional freedom, detachment, and inner peace. The woman who knows her worth doesn't chase, she chooses.